afternoon from Los Angeles and welcome to Stock Market Today. On today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the charts of Intuitive Surgical, Square, and Coupa Software. But we begin with a look at the major indexes. It's Alyssa Quorum here, and I'm joined by Justin Nielsen. And Justin, we saw another strong session today. The NASDAQ up about 0.9%. The S&P 500 up 0.5%, and the Dow up 0.4%. So after moving sideways very, very briefly,
4 days. That's all we needed.
now more new highs.
Yeah, and what I really liked about those past 4 days was we had some really tight closes. So, of course, the headline today was coronavirus. That seems like it's the headline almost every day, but it's a matter of how does the market react to the news. Today's headline was about the coronavirus numbers potentially slowing. This is something we've heard before. It's something that goes day by day, but the numbers looked good, and we saw a gap up in the indexes, the NASDAQ composite at new high ground. Again, those 4 days where it kind of just had really tight action. Almost flat. That's good.
Right.
We needed that pause. It would have been fine if we had even paused even longer. Let's say 5 days. Let's say a full week. You get what you get, and you just respond accordingly. And what was interesting is even during that pause in the index, even though it was flat action, you still had a number of stocks that were the leading stocks that were doing very well during that whole time.
Right.
So this has been a phenomenal run for this year and really since October.
Yeah, that it has. And there are still stocks providing actionable opportunities. And let's begin with a look at Intuitive Surgical's chart. That stock gaining 1.7% today. A pretty quick recovery for this stock after negative reaction to the quarterly earnings report in late January,
Right.
but now flirting with a breakout.
Yeah, so one of the things about that report that apparently investors did not like was the decelerating sales and earnings. But one of the things that's important to remember with Intuitive Surgical is it's got a real major stability factor here. The
Right.
earnings are very stable. We have a stability factor, earnings stability factor that we have in MarketSmith, and that's a 3. This is where it's a number from 1 to 99, with the lowest number being the most stable. So a little bit topsy-turvy from our normal ratings, but this has a 3, so very stable earnings. This is turning into kind of the aspects that we look at for a long-term leader, and the revenue growth is not small. Even though it's decelerating, you're talking about this is coming in at over $1 billion in revenue each quarter. So that's something to just keep in mind that, sometimes when you start getting into those big numbers, you will see some deceleration, and that is normal. But what I do like about this stock right here is that it really kind of shrugged off that weakness, and it's right back at new highs. And, that's something to keep in mind. Now, another thing I also like about this is that the one-time things that it has, that it sells, so you have the big systems, the Da Vinci systems, right? Well, now 52% of their revenue is coming from those one-time things, like the instruments and accessories. So the more that these procedures are being used, the more you have those one-time things getting used more frequently, and that's going to just add more revenue to the top line there.
Yeah, well, a very interesting story there for sure, translating over into the fundamentals and a nice looking chart to boot. And next on our list, let's take a look at Square. That stock popping 3.5% today in above average turnover. And we're going to be taking a look at a weekly chart of Square here. And this was a reset of the base count, a base that it has a depth of 35%, and it looks like it is still trading in that 5% buy zone, Justin.
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to look at this. First of all, just remember that Square had a phenomenal run in 2017 and 2018. This was the one to own. And in 2019, basically nothing, and that's normal. You don't run forever, right? It's very normal to take a break. In fact, most of the stocks that lead, only 1 out of 8 come back to lead in a future cycle. So you just have to kind of know those odds. Now, what I do like here is there's that old Wall Street adage, they either wear you out or scare you out. Square has done a little bit of both. So it's had a lot of time here as it's based. That wears a lot of people out, and it kind of scared you out. It reset this base count by undercutting that low, as Ali mentioned. So that was a low of, let's see, I have it here in my notes, like 50, what was it, 53?
54.41.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. So 54.41, it undercut that low. That resets, it kind of scares the people out. The people that were holding through that prior base, they said, okay, I could handle this much pain. Undercut that, and now they're out. So you kind of have a fresh start here. Now, you also It doesn't show up on this weekly chart, but this is why we like to use both weekly and daily charts. So you are breaking out of a cup base right here, but you actually did have an earlier handle that does not show up on the weekly chart because it was just basically like it was almost like a Wednesday to Wednesday. And so, be aware of that. And if you look on that daily chart, you will see that there was a little handle there around 71. So that provided you with an early opportunity to get into this stock.
That's right. Good point about using both the daily and weekly charts. Now, the prior base, the low of that was 59.89. The new base low, 54.41. But I think there's definitely something to be said about us saying picking the best stocks at the right time.
Right,
So
exactly.
it is all about the timing and really analyzing these charts to find those proper buy points. There's a reason why we do all of this.
Yes, exactly. Right. And the fundamental story is absolutely important. That's kind of our starting point. It's the charts that really help you with your timing.
Yes. All right. And last but not least, let's take a look at Coupa Software, which rose about 2.1% today, climbing above an early entry here, Justin. We have a month to go until earnings.
Yeah. So with Coupa, now this one, might seem like it's lagging a little bit because it's like, oh, everything is up so much, and it's like this actually pulled back, and like who wants a stock that pulls back? That's just not what we're into right now, right? Well, a number of things kind of look good about this. Now, it had a lot of volume as it came out from a strong breakout on January 3rd. So it started the year off right. Lots of volume there. It went up and it just pulled back to some very normal areas. It pulled right back to the top of that base, and that also coincided with the 50-day moving average line. So that's a great place to get support. And it's not like it had come up like 20% and pulled back. This was a minor rise, minor pullback. And so there's nothing wrong with the action so far. Now it's formed a flat base. We did mention that there was a kind of an earlier entry that you could have looked at from that February 4th high, maybe taking a little, nibble there at 172 and change. But it has yet to reach that all-time high. But it's right there and it's very close.
All right. Well, the in-depth discussion and actionable insights will continue tomorrow morning on IB Live. So make sure you tune in to our daily live stream that starts 10 minutes before the opening bell, runs through the first hour plus of trading.
Right, exactly.
With a lot of great insights from our team. You can check out all the details at investors.com/IBD Live. Start your morning on IBD Live, wrap up your afternoon here with us. Sounds like a pretty good day for traders.
And it's really been one of those things that I was on the Q&A today, and a lot of people were just saying how much it's helped them improve their results so far this year. We've been doing it for a few months, and a lot of people have found it more than worth it.
All right, well, check it out. If you have not already, as Justin was alluding to, you can submit your questions and get them answered in real time. Lots of good stuff there. And we also have our weekly podcast coming out tomorrow. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled on investors.com/podcast when that new episode drops tomorrow. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.